Hello, assalamu alaikum. Mr. Shapla is with you, and I'm feeling great for being with you once again. Dear students, I hope everybody is safe and sound as usual. A few days ago, I took a class with the students of honors third year on morphology, and today I will start the class with another topic, that is pragmatics along with discourse analysis. Pragmatics is a branch of linguistics, but the word is not very common to you. That is why I'm going to say something before describing pragmatics. We use language for communication in our real life situation. To communicate, what we do is we articulate or speak and listen utterances in the context of situation and maintain social relationships as well as convey and receive information. We talk differently in different situations as well. For example, the way we talk in a classroom environment that is different from the way we talk in a wedding reception program or in a funeral program. Or the way we talk to our friends is completely different from talking to our parents and our teachers. So all these things are studied in pragmatics. That means pragmatics focuses on the manner and style of utterances of a speaker in communication. And pragmatics is concerned with the practical situation or practical matters. And my second topic is discourse analysis. It is a general term in pragmatics. But first you should know the meaning of discourse. Discourse comes from a Latin word discursus, which means conversation or speech. And it refers to the language that is produced as the result of communication. For example, conversations, interviews, composition, etc. And that is why discourse analysis should be unified, meaningful and purposive. And obviously, discourse analysis is both spoken and written. So dear students, let's start the class with the PowerPoint presentation. So dear students, welcome to my class. There is an introduction of myself. In this slide, I will show you the name of the course and the topics. Course is Introduction to Linguistics. Topics are Pragmatics and Discourse Analysis. So this slide shows you the definition of pragmatics and some features of pragmatics. So it is a subfield of linguistics dealing with language in use and the context in which it is used. Context means situation. So context is very important. In which situation or in which context language is used, this is very important in pragmatics. Pragmatics studies the ways in which context contributes to meaning. So meaning depends on the context. It is a study of practical aspects of human action and thought. It considers language and interaction, what people mean when they use language, or what people want to mean or want to say when they communicate with language, and how we communicate and understand each other. That means how the speakers and the listeners communicate and they understand each other. Jenny Thomas 2000 said that pragmatics considers three things, that is the negotiation of meaning between speaker and listener, the context of the utterances, and the meaning of the utterances. Here in this slide, I'll show you some definitions by some linguists. Gaster 1979 says that pragmatics equals to meaning minus truth conditions. Thomas 1995 says that pragmatics is meaning in use or meaning in context. Yule 1996 says that the study of meaning as communicated by a speaker and interpreted by listener. So pragmatics is the study of speaker's meaning, contextual meaning, the expression of relative distance, or it is the study of how meaning is derived from context, how language is used in the context, and the relation between context and meaning. So pragmatics acts as the basis for all language interaction and contact. Without the function of pragmatics, there would be very little understanding of intention and meaning of utterances. For example, can you pass the salt? Suppose speaker 1 asks speaker 2 saying, can you pass the salt? The literal meaning or the word-to-word meaning of this utterance is, are you physically able to do this task? Are you physically able to do this task? And the response should be yes. But the speaker 1 wants to say or wants to mean that the second speaker or the listener should pass the salt to him. So the pragmatic meaning or the inner meaning of the question is, will you pass me the salt? That means the speaker 1 wants somebody or wants the listener to pass the salt to him. And the pragmatic response is, pass the salt to the speaker. That means the listener passes the salt to the speaker. So there is a contrast. There is a contrast between the literal meaning and the pragmatic meaning in an utterance. Okay, and I have mentioned some questions. That is, how do people communicate? What is the meaning of their utterances or their speeches, and how the listeners interpret those utterances, or whether the utterances are understood by the listener successfully or not. These are the factors discussed or studied in pragmatics. And the role of pragmatics is found in phonology, semantics, syntax, and morphology. So this is all about pragmatics. Now I'm going to start my second topic, that is discourse analysis. So look at this slide. Discourse analysis is an approach of written, vocal, or sign language use or any significant semiotic event. Semiotic means the study of signs and symbols. It investigates how utterances in spoken language and sentences in written language constitute larger units of language, that is meaningful, unified, and purposeful. That means discourse analysis studies about the spoken language and sentences in written language, how they constitute larger units of language that is meaningful, unified, and purposeful. More specifically, discourse analysis concerned with number 1, the impact of selection of grammatical items such as verbs, tenses, determiners, etc. on the structure of discourse. 2, the relationship between utterances or sentences in the discourse. Number 3, the moves made by the speaker to introduce a new topic, change the topic, or assert a higher role of relationship to the other participants. Okay, so in this slide I'll show you the features of discourse analysis. The discourse analysis describes what the speaker and listener do. This is very important. The discourse analysis describes what the speaker and the listener do. And to do so, he or she has to consider 4 discoursal features that are given below. Number 1, reference. It is the speaker who refers by using some appropriate expressions. So, speaker refers if the speaker can refer by using some appropriate expressions. He or she invests the expression with reference by the act of referring. To clarify more, referring is not just something that an expression does, but it is something that someone can use an expression to do. So reference is something which can be used by a person to express something. Okay. Therefore, a reference is an act on the part of the speaker or writer. For example, the speaker A is saying, "My uncle's coming home from Canada on Sunday." Speaker B is saying, the speaker B is asking, how long has he been away for, or has he just been away? Then the speaker A is replying, "Oh no, they lived in Canada. He was married to my aunt. Well, she has been dead for a number of years ago." So here in this conversation, he is used to refer to my uncle. Here he is used in the speech of the speaker B, and again in the speaker again the speech of the speaker A. So he is used to refer to my uncle or uncle of the speaker 1, and she to my aunt. So she is the aunt of speaker 1. Okay. Number 2 is the second feature of discourse analysis is presuppositions. Presuppositions means the assumptions or the guesses It means the assumptions that the speaker makes about the listener is likely to accept without challenge. For example, Jane no longer writes fiction. Jane no longer writes fiction. So presupposition is Jane once wrote fiction. So from the first sentence, we can assume or we can make assumption that once upon a time Jane wrote fiction and nobody can challenge about this truth. So this is called presupposition. Number 3 is implicature. Implicatures or implications stand for what a speaker can imply, suggest, or mean as different from what the speaker literally says. Literally means word-to-word meaning that I have told you in the earlier slide. That implicature means or stands for what a speaker can imply, suggest, or mean. That is what the speaker wants to say, really wants to say, what is the inner meaning of the utterances of the speaker. There are two types of implicatures, that is conventional. Number 1 is conventional and number 2 is conversational. So conventional implicature is determined by the conversational meaning of the words used, such as he is an Englishman, he is therefore brave. That means if he is an Englishman, as he is an Englishman, he is brave. And therefore, using therefore is the example of implicature. And number 2 is conversational. Conversational implicature is derived from a general principles plus a number of maxims which a speaker will normally obey. Maxims means conditions that should be obeyed by a speaker. That is number 1 is quantity. Number 1 is quantity. Make your contribution as is required. Do not make your contribution more informative than is required. Quality. Do not say what you believe to be false. So you should not say what is false, or you should not give any false information to others. Do not say what you lack adequate evidence. So you should not say something without evidence. Okay, relation, be relevant. Manner, be perspicuous. Avoid obscurity of expression. Avoid ambiguity. Be brief and be orderly. So the speeches or the utterances should be perspicuous or specific. you should or the speaker should avoid obscurity or unclarity of expression, avoid ambiguity, and be brief and be orderly. So these are the conditions, or these are the maxims that should be followed by the speakers. Okay. Number 4 is inferences. The term inference refers to the process of using observation and background knowledge to determine a conclusion that makes sense. This process is used to arrive at an interpretation for utterances. For example, a mother notices that her child tries a new food and makes a disgusted face. A mother notices that her child tries a new food and makes a disgusted face. So the mother can infer that the child dislikes the taste of the fruit. From the disgusted face of the child, the mother can infer, or the mother can interpret, that the child dislikes the taste of the fruit. The second example is, when the phone rang, Liz picked it up and she was all smiles. When the phone rang, Liz picked it up. She was all smiles. So it can be inferred, or it can be said, or it can be interpreted that Liz was pleased to receive the phone call. Okay. So that is all about discourse analysis. So my dear students, you should go through the lecture or you should go through the video once again to understand about pragmatics, what is pragmatics and what is discourse analysis and features of discourse analysis. I want to recap of today's lecture. That is, I have discussed the definition of pragmatics, the features of pragmatics, definition of discourse analysis, and the features of discourse analysis. So preferences, the presuppositions, implicatures, and inferences are the pragmatic concepts in the process of discourse analysis. So in the next class, I will discuss about text, coherence, cohesion, because these are the other important parts of pragmatics. So that is all for today. Thank you for being with me, and stay fine and safe. Until then, Allah Hafiz.